Well, Birds fans, we thought last week was bad. This week, we hit maybe a low in the 2025 campaign for the Philadelphia Eagles. Will the Eagles be able to bounce back with a less than challenging schedule the rest of the way? We're going to talk about it for the love of Broad Street.
For the love of Broad Street, welcome back to the show. My name's Jake Gillespie. That's Marshall Keeley. And Marshall, I've been down in the dumps as a Philly sports fan. I can't remember a time in the last 5 years when I have been this upset about the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
We've lost three in a row. And none of them were good losses.
No.
Not one.
Not one. You can go back to the previous weeks and say, okay, we're a play away here or there. I would say that's even true of this game, but it had a different feeling. You're going against a quarterback that has a broken hand, is barely able to hand the ball off with the hand he's supposed to. You're going against a team that has been gettable in previous weeks, has not been necessarily playing up to the standard that they have for themselves. And you finally get a running game back after not having a running game to speak of. Saquon Barkley has more than 6 yards a carry. And it's like, okay, all the problems that we've had before, are they gone by the wayside? No. The new problem for the Philadelphia Eagles that reared its ugly head in this game for the first time all season, Jake, was the turnover problem.
Oh, yeah.
5 turnovers from Jalen Hurts, 4 interceptions, and a fumble on an interception, forced fumble by our running back. Shipley forces that fumble. Jalen has it in his hands and it gets knocked out again. 2 turnovers on the same play. That is hard to do if you're a starting quarterback in this league. I also think, Jake, that part of the reason these turnovers are happening, it's twofold, but one is the ball is being forced to A.J. Brown. He has now 3 consecutive weeks of 100 yards plus, and the Eagles are 0-3 in 3 consecutive weeks.
Yeah, and you know what's so funny is everyone was so concerned about A.J. Brown's feelings. Is our wide receiver happy? Does he like it here? We were winning football games.
Yeah.
And now he's happy as a clam and we stink.
Right.
So, like, what do we want more, Eagles? Like, do we want to win? Or do we want to make this diva shut up, essentially? I hate that we're coddling him. And I don't get why. We were winning before. Who cares if he's mad? That's my opinion.
He's a big money guy. He demands a lot of attention on the field. I don't think the Eagles get to where they are without him. I don't think that there's any dispute there, but the balance in the offense is so important. And when the Eagles were winning games during this season, it was a Devontae Smith-led team for the most part. You still had maybe some Jalen runs. You had there's still not much from Saquon Barkley outside of the Giants game prior to this week. That was the only game that he really had a big statement in. And it was an offense that was running through multiple players. In the last 3 weeks, it has seemed like we are going to feed AJ the ball, and he is shut up. He's not complaining at the end. And in fact, he took accountability. I'll give him that there were a couple plays in this game. You could maybe point to the interception on the one that goes through his hands on a high pass. You could say that's partially Jalen, but that's one that A.J. Brown should probably catch, or at least
pop straight up
straight in
to
the air.
give him a perfect pick. I mean,
right. And then the two drops in this game that I think loom the largest are the drop on
Oh,
what
the
was a
deep ball.
beautiful deep ball down the sideline,
Oh,
and it just goes straight off of his hands. And then the drop in the end zone. Jalen Hurts, we forget, is leading the team in to take the lead and potentially win the game and throws his best ball of the night
yeah.
over the shoulder to AJ Brown. Yes, the defender's there. Yes, the defender is pulling his arm down as the ball's coming in, but that's AJ
But both
Brown. He's
hands.
supposed to make that catch when he gets both mitts on the ball. That is his life, is a contested catch, big game, big time receiver. He let the team down just as much as Jalen let the team down in this game. AJ Brown let the
Yeah.
team down. A couple catches from him. This game is different.
I'm gonna completely trash Jalen Hurts in a moment, but that ball was perfect.
Yeah, beautiful.
It was perfect. If you asked AJ Brown on that route, where do you want that ball? He'd probably say right here,
Right here. Yeah,
right where it hit him in
yeah,
both hands.
yeah,
Like you have to make that catch, especially with how much he's been complaining. You know what I mean? If you're the guy who is playing immaculate football and you're not getting the ball and your team's doing fine, complain, whatever.
right.
He's been not that great. Like he's cut off routes too early.
Yeah,
He's not, he's there's a couple of balls that have hit his hands and bounced off. Like I don't get how you can be this much of a diva and not perform. You know what I mean? With To, when he was a diva, you were like, well, at least he's probably the most dynamic receiver in football at the time.
yeah.
AJ Brown is very good,
Hmm.
but I don't think he's on that level. And he's dropping footballs. You don't get to do both. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, it's tough to watch a guy who you expect to make those big plays not come up with them in those moments. But I mean, again, it's three weeks now that he had two touchdowns in the game against the Bears. He had a touchdown the week prior to that, and more than 100 yards. I mean, he's still got production. It's just those timely routes or those timely misses. The Eagles have no room for error right now because they're not getting a consistent running game, because Saquon Barkley, as of late, has not been the player that we know he has the capability to be. Some of that is the offensive line, and I think honestly, what we can talk about in a moment, the turnovers from Jalen Hurts, I think some of that is the offensive line as well. But there's also schematic issues happening here. We can go back to Kevin Patullo a bit. It doesn't feel, Jake, right now like either Jalen is comfortable enough with this offense, is trusting what he's seeing on the field, or is willing to trust who is up front and that they're going to give him enough time to deliver the ball. I don't think that Fred Johnson has been, a glaring issue for this team, but he's not Lane, and we can't ignore that the Eagles' record without Lane Johnson is abysmal. When
Yeah,
he's not on the field, they're 15-27 in his time here. That is
that's
a
ridiculous.
ridiculously low number. That is a team that could have a new coach every couple of years. If you go 15 and
Right.
27 in 3 years, right, you're gonna have a new coach, you're gonna have a new system here. So I think him not being on the field does matter. But what we saw in this game was the Eagles establishing the run a little bit more and then kind of again moving away from it. I felt, especially on that overtime drive. Um, Jalen gets you a really, like, to credit to him, because we can talk about his play, but he was making some throws to keep them in this game. He made a lot of throws to take them out of contention for
Yeah,
this
that
game,
third down conversion on the overtime drive was
but that
huge.
was a massive play. And
Yeah,
and that's a gutsy move. And when the penultimate moment in this game happens, that is a read option design play. He could have handed the ball off to Saquon. It's a 1st and 10, right? You're set up inside the 25, I believe, at that time. It's a 1st and 10. Instead of read optioning, allowing Saquon to take the ball, Khalil Mack had pulled and stopped to take Jalen, and then Jalen rolls out and tosses one. Dotson, he thinks, is open. He doesn't put enough air on the ball. But seriously, Jake, I mean, I know that this looks really bad, but we have to just keep in mind with all of this, The Eagles are one throw away from winning this game in overtime and putting you into a better situation in the playoff standing and for the rest of the year. So everything we talk about today, it is, I think, hinges on that particular throw. Other turnovers aside, they could have set themselves up better, but they still had a chance to win at the end of the game, Jake.
See, that's my pride. I'm going to disagree with you because that's my biggest problem. It became an issue where one throw was the story.
True.
But the only reason is because this quarterback, who is heralded as a ball security beacon,
Yeah.
made 4 turnovers before that one,
Right.
2 on the same play. So, like, I have kept my mouth shut for most of this year because Jalen's been smart with the ball. And we've had a couple losses, and I don't really think any of them were his fault in particular.
Mm-hmm.
This one, like, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say this. I think 25 or 26 of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL could have won this game instead of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I think Tanner McKee would have won this game. And we need to start talking about, like, if he doesn't take care of the ball, what is he offering us?
Right.
He went 21 for 40 for 240 yards with an average of 6 yards.
Yeah.
What's special about that stat line? I can't find it. The only thing special to me is 4 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
4. 5 turnovers, 2 of which were on the same play.
Yeah.
So I will keep my mouth shut about Jalen Hurts when he takes care of the football, but when he doesn't, he is an absolute liability. He is, and I want to clear the air a bit. People calling for his benching are stupid. Like, look in the mirror and realize that a dummy is staring back at you for
Yeah.
everyone who who wants to bench Jalen Hurts.
Right.
This is one bad game.
Yeah.
However, if it continues, like, we need to start talking about someone else because this team is too talented to have, like, people keep telling me Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback. That's not a top 5 quarterback performance. And if it's one all year, like, if we're sitting here at the end of the season as NFC champions, this game will not only leave most fans' memory, it will leave my memory. But if we lose out in the first round of the wild card game, I mean, this is the kind of stuff where I'm going to say, well, if we had a just a decent quarterback, we would be 10 times better off. That was not a decent quarterback performance. I don't even think that was like a subpar quarterback performance. That was atrocious.
Yeah, I think this was his worst game as a professional. I
Oh
think
yeah.
that goes without saying here. I think he was erratic and was looking uncomfortable. Even just the throw at the end of the game, that throw off your back foot on the move
On
into
first down,
on first down,
throw it away.
knowing the situation. Jake, honestly, like, I like the decision there to go with, like, the way your defense had been playing. I like the decision to or to kick and to get the ball
Yeah.
second. And even there, like, let's say they continue that drive and there's some run plays and some passes, they hold on to the ball, they kick a field goal. I'd still rather be sitting here at 8-4-1 as opposed to 8-5. I think
Right.
that, like, you're seeing that from the Green Bay Packers. That tie is a benefit to you, no matter what. Like, it's way better than a loss
Sure
when
is.
it comes down to the seeding and everything. So I I think this was, maybe, again, they wanted to change philosophies. They felt like they needed to change philosophies because the run game has not been there. But let's remember, Jake, the reason that the Eagles won last year is not necessarily because of Jalen Hurts throwing the ball down the field. These were
Taking care of the
moments,
ball.
these were moments where he was efficient, taking care of the ball, was a threat to run. Saquon was going off. You think back to the Rams game. You think back to the NFC Championship game where he had three rushing touchdowns. The rushing touchdown then from Jalen Hurts, and another a tush push. Like this was a ground attack for the Eagles. It's anytime they've had success, it's been predicated on the ground attack, and then taking one or two big shots a game to keep you honest. That's what Jalen Hurts is get you. He's going to get you 200 yards. He's going to hold on to the ball, get you a rushing touchdown, get you some rushing first downs when there's nobody covered down the field. He is not going to sit back and throw 40 times and carve you up. That's just not his style of play. That's not what makes him a good quarterback. And trying to force him into that doesn't help your team, especially Jake, when the interior of your offensive line and your tackle are either out or hurting badly, right?
Yeah.
We didn't see, like, I don't think that the protection was poor in this game for the Eagles. I think they only give up 2 sacks in this game. And you could say that that was partially Jalen holding on to the ball a little bit. But
Right.
I also just don't think that he's very comfortable out there without Lane. I think that makes a difference to him psychologically. I think it made a difference to Carson Wentz when he wasn't out there on the field. I think
Right.
made a difference to uh you know anybody who's played quarterback for this Eagles franchise. If Lane Johnson's not out there, they're playing worse. That's just how it
Right.
goes. Um, so we can't understate that either. What I didn't like from Jalen was forcing the ball into double coverage, forcing the ball into tight windows, not seeming like he was reading the defense as well, especially when the blitz was coming. That first
Yeah.
interception, the one that's thrown over the middle to a defensive lineman, and then it's knocked out, and he then recovers the ball and then fumbles the ball. That was a a ridiculously bad decision from Jalen Hurts, one that he was just under duress immediately and tossed it, not seeing that lineman sinking into coverage. Inexcusable. And the ones later on in this game too. I mean, I know that one was popped up in the air, but he also had one earlier in the game that went through a guy's arms, hit the turf. Like it could have been a 5 interception game for Jalen Hurts here.
Yeah.
And that is like rare territory when it comes to stinkers. So, I mean, this was bad. I mean, it from top to bottom it was bad. But I think the thing to me that gives me hope for this team and for this offense was the establishment of the run game a little bit more. I liked the trickery with the tush push, obviously leading to a touchdown there. And then you've also gotten more consistent play out of AJ. And I know he's not gonna like it seems like right now he's not going to win games for you single-handedly, but you need him. You need him as a part of your offense, and
Yeah.
you need him to be completing routes. If
Right.
nothing else, just completing routes. Just 2 or 3 times throughout a playoff run, you need him to be giving full effort, getting down the field, and making a contested catch. And then,
Right.
getting Devontae back involved. I think Devontae at this point is proving to be more of an asset, but we're not utilizing him because AJ's out there and we want to get AJ the ball. I want to switch though to the defensive side of the ball because some of Jalen's mistakes were almost immediately erased by turnovers from this defense. What did you make of
Yeah.
their performance
Oh.
again, holding a team that has been scoring at a relatively high rate to a very winnable margin?
Yeah. So, like, I want to just for everyone's reference on this really abysmal run we've had. Let's look at the points allowed
Yeah,
by our defense. Ready?
yeah,
Chargers loss. We allowed 22 points.
right.
And that three
Including
of them were in
overtime.
overtime. Three of
In
them were in
overtime.
overtime. So really it's 19.
Yeah,
The Bears, 24. The Cowboys, 24.
yeah,
Back to the wins. Lions, 9. Packers, 7. Like what else do you need from them, guy? Like this offense not winning these games is embarrassing
yeah.
because I can't really think about what else you want out of this defensive unit. 7 sacks, 7.
Yeah.
And listen, this is actually a really funny game for me because people that I have more in-depth football discussions with, I will frequently tell people that Jalen Hurts is not a top 5 quarterback. and they'll be like, "Well, who's your number five?" Because I think everyone knows, like like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, they're
Right.
one, two, depending on who you talk to.
Mahomes and
Yeah, and then you get
yeah.
Mahomes just from the winning pedigree, and then but like they're like, "Oh, that 4 or 5s, I put Justin Herbert there," and people go, "Are you kidding me? Like that guy can't win the big
From a
game."
pure talent standpoint, I
But if
agree
yeah,
with you.
and you want to know why? Because he just won a game where he was sacked 7 times.
Yeah.
7 times with a broken hand.
Yep.
What I mean, that's that. Now, I do want to. This is. Let's get back to the Eagles' defense here. Listen to this stat line. Keep in mind, to my Jalen Hurts fans, that this stat line beat us. Ready? 12 for 26 for 139 yards
Yeah.
and 1 touchdown. That I cover high school football games. That's like a single A high school football game
Yeah. Yeah.
stat line from a quarterback. That is crazy. And he beat us.
Uh-huh.
How fun is that?
Mm-hmm.
He beat us with that stat line. And that's like I'm sitting here telling you that's a good quarterback
Yeah.
that we held to high school numbers and
And
like bad
forced
high school numbers.
and forced an interception on him too.
Yeah,
With that pressure.
that was
Uh,
not him really making a bad mistake. That was just us stealing that ball essentially.
right. And Dory Jackson is the beneficiary. And honestly, I thought he had a really good game.
Yeah, he did.
And I thought that the secondary was on point. I mean, 139, you give that up, you should be winning a game. Um,
Right.
Cooper DeJean had some really, really nice pass breakups down the field in this game. And I think this was one of Jordan Davis's best games, especially considering that Jalen Carter was not in the lineup. Jordan Davis stepped up in a big way for this team. With the pressures, run stuffing. I mean, this offense didn't do a whole lot. They really
Yeah.
didn't. I mean, you get a couple, you get some touchdowns in there, but it was a dicker the kicker fest for the most part.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so, outside of that first drive, really, when the Chargers were able to kind of march down the field, I was thinking, oh no, this is going to be a stinker of a game. Maybe this
Yeah, right.
Jalen Carter not being in the lineup is going to loom large here. But after that, it
Right.
was tighten up, make adjustments. I mean, I think Vic is so good at adjusting on the fly and playing chess, figuring out what the offense is doing and counterbalancing it. But I think this was somewhat valiant performance from the defense, especially given the positions that the offense was putting them in. They got
Right.
22 points and the offense was turning the ball over 5 times. So
Yeah.
that is a bend don't break sort of approach. And especially, this team, the defense has been on the field so stinking much because the offense has had so many three outs and has not sustained drives. Uh, that's a gassed defense out there late in the game and
Right.
still able to hold the Chargers to a field goal and at least allow Jalen Hurts the opportunity to drive the field and score a game-winning touchdown, which did not
Right.
happen.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the breakdown. I completely forgot. You remember that Kamani Vidal 60-yard catch?
Yeah,
You take that away, they would have had 79 passing yards.
right.
79. I
Yeah.
mean, come on.
And that
That's
was a
crazy.
that was a like screen pass, sort of a
That
dump off.
busted.
I
Yeah,
mean, that
right.
just there's nobody on that side of the field, and then Zach Bond has to chase him down. I
Right.
mean, it's almost a rushing stat, Jake. It's barely a passing
Essentially.
stat.
Yeah, and that's just. I mean, like again, I know Herbert had a broken hand, and they were probably limiting his throws or whatever, but still, I mean, that is just an elite defensive performance without your arguably best player,
Yeah,
without Jalen Carter. They
yeah,
put that up. So, like, there is hope here. It's just really hard to see it through the complete ineptitude of this offense. I saw a stat that of the highest percentage of hitch routes in the NFL, the Eagles have number one and number two, and then AJ Brown's top 20. So we have three in the top 20 in the NFL of hitch routes. That speaks to how bad Kevin Patullo's system is.
yeah.
Um, So I don't want to pretend that this was just like out of nowhere. We were humming along and then this happened. We were not. But I feel like even Kevin Patullo did enough to win this game.
Yeah.
It
There,
was Jalen Hurts that didn't.
and honestly, I like again, there were plays to be made there. Jalen made some poor decisions. It's on him, but there are also he gave this team opportunities to come back and win it too. And I like you can point to AJ. I think the complexion of this game is completely different if AJ makes that first catch. If AJ
Yeah,
makes
you're not wrong.
the catch for the touchdown. Like
Right.
those are game-changing plays that Jalen is gifting AJ Brown. Here, take
Right.
this. We know you want to be a part of this offense. We know you want to be a superstar wide receiver. Here's your chance to be a superstar wide receiver, and he can't pull it off. So I think he deserves just
Yeah.
as much blame as Jalen Hurts. Although I agree, Jalen's decision making was the worst we have ever seen.
Abysmal.
The worst we have
Abysmal.
ever seen from him, and that is a very, very troubling sign at this point in the season to still be concerned about if he is understanding the offensive schematics, and
Yeah.
whether that's being translated to him well or not. The other part of it is, again, I don't know how much is Jalen calling audibles at the line. I don't know how much is Kevin Patullo getting in his ear and saying, hey, let's make this adjustment, and him just
Right.
not wanting to. I don't know what the dynamic between the two of them is. What I
Yeah.
have liked, though, is even in the losses, I mean, I've been watching the series on HBO Max uh, that is following the NFC East, the Hard Knocks series, and it seems at least that Jalen's attitude, that AJ Brown and his attitude are better. That even on the sidelines, he's coaching people up, he's staying positive. Like the reality for this team, Jake, is you're 8-5. You are firmly in the three spot. If you
Yeah.
win three of these games, you are really in the playoff seeding. You're going to get a home playoff game, and
Right.
I get it. We just came off a Super Bowl win, right? We just came off a year prior a 10-1 start that folded. You know,
Fell apart. Yeah.
they fell apart, and the prior year it was another Super Bowl appearance. Like we've gotten used to this. We've gotten used to this, but these are hard games to win. And we have to remember the
Hmm.
Eagles have the hardest schedule of any team in the league. And these these are moments for some of these franchises that are like their Super Bowl, right? The Chargers are
Right.
probably not going to get out of the first round of the playoffs. Jim Harbaugh is coaching his guys up saying like this is our chance to make a statement, right?
Right.
Even going back to the Chicago Bears and you know their approach. The Bears are nobodies. Oh,
Right.
we can finally tell the world that we can stand up to the defending Super Bowl champions and take them down. Like
Right.
these games matter more. I'm interested to see what the Eagles do if and hopefully when they get into the playoffs. I'm not as optimistic as I once was that there will be back-to-back titles in our future here,
No.
but
No.
it is tough. It is tough to win in this league, and 8-5 is still respectable at this point in the year, given the teams that they have faced. I there's been some
Yeah.
ugly losses and some games that you want them to play better in specific spots, but they've been in every game outside of that Giants game. And
Right.
like there have been times in each of these games that they could have made plays to change the tide, and they did not. We've got 4 weeks left of this year, and I think they're all winnable games. Even I'll say it, even the Buffalo game, I don't think they're going
They're
to win,
yeah,
but it
they're
is winnable.
they're not a superpower like they
No,
have been in the past. They
no,
are that defense is gettable. They almost coughed one up in pretty outstanding fashion last week.
yeah,
So yeah, this is not the scary Bills teams of the past. Josh Allen is
still
scary.
scary. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jake, I want to talk about one more thing here. Um, our kicking game has not been helping right now. Jake missed some kicks in last week's game, an extra point, I
Yeah.
believe, and a
It
and
was a 49
50
yard
40,
field goal, I
49 yard
think.
try. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was trying to think of the yardage, but he missed some points left on the board last week. He misses one in perfect conditions this week in LA. What have you made of his performance so far this year, and do we have a problem? Are we as confident as we were previously in Jake Elliott?
Okay. So the thing with kicking is that if you think football is a game of inches, like you're overestimating for the kicking game. Um, if you if you miss your kick by about this much from 50 yards, you will miss the kick. There are a lot of different variables that come into play. So when we watch a guy miss, we just usually just say, "Oh, it's the kicker's fault," whatever. There's a snap, there's a hold, there's a kick. And I want to talk about the first part of that equation because the Eagles recently made a move that kind of surprised me. And I mean recently, as in since the Chargers game. We have released our long snapper. I haven't seen a problem with the snaps, to make it clear. I'm not going to sit here and say that guy's doing a bad job. But as far as I can tell, Jake Elliott was perfect with the old long snapper, and all of his misses have come since we got the new long snapper.
And the old long snapper is hurt,
Yeah,
correct?
and he's coming back, I believe. I think that was like the move that just happened. And again, I don't want to say like, oh, the fill in long snapper, this is all his fault. That it's not. I don't think that's the case. There's a bunch of different things happening. I think it mainly comes down to Elliott. But so much of kicking is timing. And if there was just something a little off about that snap that he got used to with the original guy and didn't get used to with this guy, that could explain something. So I don't want to sit here and just say Jake Elliott's lost it, he's past it, he's no good anymore. I wonder if this getting our original long snapper back will help him in some way. It might not. It might be nothing. But it's just one of those really niche things that I don't think a lot of people take into account when kickers miss field goals. They just say, "Oh, it was the kicker." There's a lot
Right.
of things happening all at the same time, and that is a big part of it. Maybe this will, be a return to all the near perfect Jake Elliott we know and love by getting our long snapper back.
Yeah. And I think that miss, again, changed the complexion of this game. It came at a
Sure
really
does.
opportune time, and the Eagles needing momentum that gave momentum back to the Chargers. Um, and you can say what you will about the kicking game, but the Eagles offense, just period, has to be better. It just has to be
Yeah.
better if they want a chance to make any damage, any noise in the playoffs and defend their title here. It starts with the quarterback, and it starts with the offensive line, and it goes outward. I mean, you could say
Yeah.
that Devontae's still making plays. AJ needs to make more plays, and he knows that. And I think they're all honest about where they are right now. This has been a humbling 3 weeks, Jake. This is a
Sure
team
has.
this is a team that was 8-2 and
Yeah.
firing its way back to a potential number one seed. I think that is completely out of the question now.
It's gone. Yeah.
But you still have a chance to at least defend yourself and make your way back. But the road, Jake, is tough. And we look at the playoff standings right now. The teams that you would be facing in a third slot are not slouches.
No.
Um, it's the potential of the Bears again, the Seahawks, the potential of a 49ers team that you just, from a historical standpoint, hate to
Yeah,
face.
if they're healthy too, like a lot of the 49ers woes have been like with Brock Purdy out and when he's back, it's that team is a different team and not one that I would be looking forward to facing.
Yeah, and you're teetering on the edge here with the Lions and the the Packers as well. I mean, it could
Right.
really, the next few weeks will decide a lot. The top of the NFC or the AFC is a little more solidified. The top of the NFC is kind of muddy because they've
Wide
been
open,
winning so
yeah.
much.
Right.
So it could even be that you see the Rams. I mean, it's not that far fetched
Yeah.
that you see
Yeah.
the Rams in this
They slide a
in
little
this
bit, yeah.
first. And I don't love the idea of having them back to Philadelphia again to
No.
go at a rematch of last year because I think the result might be a little bit different, and I think that's a much better Rams team than the team that came to Philly
If
and
it if
lost
it
in January.
snows though, if it snows, we win. I mean, so we can take him as long as there's a blizzard.
Yeah. I think we can't understate you can't understate the value of home field advantage when it comes to the Eagles, especially in the playoffs. It's a different atmosphere.
Yeah,
It looks like they're still in line to claim the first back-to-back NFC East champions in championship in 20 plus years, but
yeah.
they still have some work to do. So let's look ahead now to the Raiders this week. What have you seen from them? What are your thoughts on their play? Can Ashton Genty really make a dent in this defensive line and give the Raiders a chance to pull off, although it would be less of an upset than it would have been last week, given the standings,
Yeah,
still an
right.
upset.
Yeah, I think the running game is the scariest part. Defense is no slouch either. I hate to say this, but like this is just a must-win game. If you have any aspirations of anything beyond a first round playoff exit, you have to win this game.
Yeah.
Especially considering, and I have a question for you. There are rumblings of a potential Kenny
Yeah.
Pickett start. I don't know, Marshall. I almost wonder if I'd rather face Geno Smith.
I think I'd rather face Geno Smith.
I don't want a hungry Kenny Pickett in there playing
No,
his old team. No,
yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
want that.
at this point in the season for the Raiders, given their standing, it's not a oh, we're pushing for a playoff spot. I mean, that's well
Right,
beyond any, that's not a thing anymore, but it's just a we're playing for pride sort of a thing.
right,
When you add a guy into the mix who has a little bit of, I don't think it's bad blood, but just personal connection to this
right. He
franchise,
wants to
and
beat him.
he's got some more juice behind him. I don't know. That said, I'd be more scared of a Tanner McKee than a Kenny Pickett going against
Amen.
it. But
Yeah,
I think that this is going to come down to the Eagles making sure that they are going back to the fundamentals. I think you can outmuscle this team. I think you can outrun this team, outgun this team. They just don't have the weapons. They don't have the defenders that I mean, the Cowboys put up what 40 plus points on this team. I mean, this
yeah.
has been it's
They're not great. I mean,
they're not great.
they're yeah,
If your offense can't go off against this team, your offense can't go off against anybody. So
right,
that's really this is kind of it, right? If you want to get back on track from an offensive perspective, the rest of the way, I mean, even the I think that now the Commanders defense is not obviously what it was. And they've pretty much been eliminated from contention as well. But that said, the Raiders and the Commanders, I would still think that the Commanders defense is better than the Raiders defense. And
yeah,
so now it's, hey, can we really establish finally some sort of identity for this team? Because it still feels like there's none. Jake, on the offensive side
yeah,
of the ball, there's none. It's on defense, it's run stuffing uh it's well, it wasn't run stuffing a few weeks ago, but it's been getting to the passer. That's really been
right.
what's picked up in the past couple of weeks. Um, and then defending really well on the back end. On the offense, we're still looking. We're still searching for something. Um, I'm gonna say this is an Eagles win, and I'm hesitant because the last 3 weeks have been abysmal.
Oh yeah.
But I'm gonna say that this is an Eagles win. Give me 24-17 Eagles.
You know what? I'm gonna keep my prediction despite how close it was to yours. I was thinking 28-17 for the exact same reason. I think we actually just I'm this is me more saying it out of hope than out of what I think is going to happen. We give Jake Elliott a day off field goals. We punch it in every time we're down there. We score
Yeah.
4 touchdowns. The Raiders running game is not a joke. Like they can move the ball. We've had some struggles with our run defense this year. I think they might pop a couple of big runs and that'll lead to a score or two. But we should really handle these guys. We really, really should.
One thing before we move on to something more encouraging and a lot more happy. Uh,
Yeah.
how'd you like the broadcast putting up the stat? Eagles are 16 for 16 in goal to go situations, only to have them fail for the first time in the season in goal
Yeah.
to go situations.
I I really do believe in the curse of the commentator. I do some very like amateur soccer commentary, and I never say stuff like that because it always happens. So I want to know who in the ESPN broadcast hates the Eagles because they did that on purpose. You always wait until after they score to do that. You never
Yep,
do it before.
yep.
That's a
Because
rookie move if it
immediately
was
they
a
got
mistake.
immediately they got called for the hold, and then it was all right.
Yeah.
No more conversion on this.
Yeah, that was on purpose or a complete rookie move. I don't know which one, but it was one of the two, and they should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah. Hey, neither of us are wearing Eagles gear this week, despite the Eagles being in season. We're both kind of going with the whitewash look, clean it, a clean slate. But Jake is wearing the P for the Phillies there because there's reason to be excited in Philadelphia again this week as the man Kyle Schwarber is Schwarback
Ah,
with the Phillies,
that
and
was
we
a
are
good
so excited about it.
that was a good update. It was funny because it was like Monday night. I was probably the angriest slash saddest I've ever been.
Yeah,
And then it was almost I bet it was on purpose. The Phils were like, let's give him something to be happy about. Guy.
right.
We got him back. We got him back. And I was like, oh, thank you, Mr. Dombrowski, Mr. Middleton. Thank you. Yeah, 5 years, 150. That's a lot of
It's
money.
a lot of money.
Also, I do want to, it is a lot of money. I do want to give credit to the front office. It's exactly what the reports were that Schwarber was asking for.
Yeah,
So even if I don't necessarily agree with the direction of a front office, I love when the front office shows a direction. And for me, that was the front office saying, we have one goal and one goal only, get him back. They
yeah,
gave him exactly what he wanted. And what I love from a fan standpoint is that Kyle didn't wait around. He didn't say, let's see what else is out there. Let's get the highest bidder. He said, they gave me what I wanted. Let's run it back. And I could not be more thrilled.
and the reports are, Jake, that the Orioles offered an exact same amount, and the Phillies were able to match it, and
Yep.
that Schwarbs chose the hometown team, gave him a
Yeah.
nod, and said, "I want to be in Philadelphia." It's warms your heart to think about, but then you start thinking about the commitment. I mean, at his age, 5 years down the road, it's a lot of money to be putting
Yeah.
into it. We're excited
He's
about it.
gonna
I
be
think
he's gonna be almost 40 by the end of it, which
he's
is
going to be almost 40 and is still
yeah.
on the payroll here for the Phillies. But with a guy who just came off his best statistical season, probably in his career, you're looking at not an everyday outfield. You're looking at a DH still from him, but a guy that just works and fits so well into this clubhouse and into this city. It was I think in some ways a no-brainer for this front office, knowing the love that the fan base has. He's going to get
Yeah.
people in the seats, right? This would
Right.
have been a give up for the Phillies organization if they had moved off of him, I think. And that's maybe
Yeah.
the biggest headline in all of this is they think now is the time to win, Jake. Do you agree with that?
Well, I just think what this move showed me is that they the front office thinks we were a lot closer than it felt. And I tend to agree, not because of Schwarber, but because of Zach Wheeler. Like the fact that Wheeler wasn't playing in last postseason was something that like the national media kind of glazed over. And for me as a fan, I was like, this Dodger series is completely different if Wheels starts game one,
Yeah,
Sanchez is game two. And
right.
then when we had to rebound, Wheeler throws again. Like no one was talking about it, and it was making me mad because it is a different series with him. If you get even and let's be honest, Schwarber didn't really produce the goods in the postseason, no,
He didn't.
nor did the rest of the lineup. It wasn't
No.
just a him problem. Nobody really did. But you just wonder if Wheels is there in the postseason, is there a little more juice in that clubhouse? I think so.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, like I, I am thrilled that he's back because I just don't think there's anyone you could get right now in the market that would equal the run production that Kyle Schwarber gave us last year. It was other than him, it was basically Shohei Ohtani or Cal Raleigh. They're not going anywhere. So that's who you had. We got him back.
Right.
It's a huge win. But now I think we have to face the facts that you are almost certainly unable to bring back both JT Realmuto and Ranger Suarez.
Yeah.
I just don't think the money's there now
Yeah.
that we have 30 million a year clogged up.
I would agree. And I was gonna, move into this philosophy thing because, we've been talking about all these positions in previous weeks here. Where do we go? What do we do? I think this changes the math a lot.
Right.
And I wanted to get your take on the offer on the table for JT Realmuto. We don't know the figure right
Right.
now, but we know that there's been an offer made to JT Realmuto. Do you think that's a realistic possibility that he comes back? And do you think that he's a kind of guy who would take a deal that's maybe a club benefit and maybe a discount because he understands his age and his connection to the city is so good?
Okay. So one, I do think that it's realistic that he comes back. The front office is doing in the wrong order exactly what I was hoping they would do. I was hoping you'd lock down JT first and then go get Schwarber. I understand why they didn't because you don't want too many other teams throwing their hands in the pot for Schwarber. The Mets were out there; that would have been a disaster if they were able to land him. So I am glad, but I said it on the pod. I'm going to say it again. My biggest priority in this offseason is getting JT back because there's nobody else. There's not like an up and comer that we think can really slot in there that could take over the everyday catching slot and give us even close to his production. There's just not. I don't think Marchand's that guy yet. He could be in a couple years, maybe by the end of this proposed 3 year deal. Maybe Marchand's ready, and then we can move on. But right now, I don't think that's the way forward. I think we need JT back. I think them giving him that offer is a signal that they're prioritizing him over Ranger Suarez, which also I think is the right move. You have Andrew Painter coming up. You have some other guys kicking around in the farm system. There's other free agents out there in the starting pitching spot that you can fill in that might be able to give you some of the same production Ranger could. There isn't that for JT. Now, do I think he's going to take a super club friendly deal? No, I don't. Here's why. The last contract we signed with him, he kind of carried this torch for all catchers. And uh, listen, with all due respect, he is just a different level of catcher.
Yeah, he is.
There are not many catchers in the league right now that steal a bunch of bases,
Right.
that hit like he can hit. Not that he necessarily hit like that this year, but that he can hit like.
Right.
And also, nobody talks about how good of a defensive, like not just framing and throws to second, but just like managing the pitching staff. JT is one of the best in the league at that.
Yeah.
And you can't really find all of those things in one guy. So, do I hope he takes a club friendly deal? Yes. But I don't think he will. I think he's going to try and push that boundary, just like he did last time, to basically tell the league, hey, here's a measuring stick for all the other catchers. Pay them more. They deserve more. Because, in my opinion, I got to give it to him. Catchers are just underpaid. Like, if you just
Yeah.
look at how important they are versus what they are paid, the math ain't math in my opinion.
Yeah. That's fair. Uh, let's let's get your thoughts here on how the rest of the Phillies offseason goes. Do you think that Rangers going to be gone now, and you think that JT's coming back on a certain deal? Um, and what are we expecting from these winter meetings then too?
Yeah, I really think we get JT back on some type of 3 year deal.
Hmm.
Um, I think we discussed this already. I think it's important to note that like the only the territory that JT's proposal is in Yadier Molina territory. This is
Right.
not like a you know, low money thing. 3 years at his age for a catcher is nuts.
Yeah.
But I listen. I think we give it to him. I think we should give it to him.
Yeah. He's earned
Um,
it. He's definitely earned
yeah,
it.
exactly. And the problem is because of that, I do not think Ranger comes back. I just don't think the money's going to be there. I think they're going to look in another direction. I think they're going to look within. I think they're going to say, "Hey, Andrew Painter, look, this is your time. You're the five guy. Go earn it." Spring training this year is going to be huge for that pitching staff because again, I just don't know who you can land that's up to the caliber of Ranger. I think your best bet is Andrew Painter. If he can progress like he was progressing before that Tommy John surgery, he's probably your best bet. It's sad because Ranger Suarez is I don't know if you can call him a fan favorite. I've loved him. He does have the tendency to tail off towards the end of the season. But he indicated that he loved it here and he wanted to stay. I just don't think he's going to be able to turn the money down from maybe someone like a Baltimore or someone like that has the money to throw at him. Um, and it will be sad, but again, I just think the front office is going to do its best for us, and
Right.
that's probably Andrew Painter or someone similar. I also want to mention, if you've been a longtime follower of the like Phillies farm system, you'll know the name Griff McGarry. He was taken in round three of the Rule 5 draft to, of all people, the Washington Nationals.
Hmm.
Um, do I think he's going to be the next, Blake Snell or whatever? No, but I think he's going to develop into a solid arm, and I'm upset that he has gone to the Nationals,
Yeah.
um, because we very well may see him in like 2 or 3 years, and we're going to be like, I wish we
Shoot.
held on to him. Yeah,
Yeah.
but sad to see him go. The other Rule 5 draft pickup for us, we were the 29th pick. We got a reliever from the Marlins, Zach McCambley. Um, More of a flyer, I think, than a guy like Griff McGarry was. But just something to keep an eye on in the Rule 5 pickup from
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. One final thing here, Jake. I want to get your thoughts on the Pete Alonso deal with the
Oh
Baltimore
yeah,
Orioles.
yeah,
No longer a New York Met. We knew that was the case, but
yeah.
he's moving down 95. Won't be far away
Who
from the
cares?
Phils
Keep him.
organization. Yeah, but
Keep
not
him.
in the same league now.
Yes, thank goodness. Listen, he's a great baseball player, full stop, but he just loved killing the Phillies,
Yeah.
didn't he?
Yeah,
Like,
he did.
loved killing the Phillies. And between him and Brandon Nimmo being moved, which I don't understand why they did that. I think that was a dumb move.
Yeah.
Um, the two Philly killers on the Mets are now gone. And then if you want to take into account Edwin Diaz, now granted he went to the Dodgers, so the evil empire has grown. But the Mets are losing all of their pieces, and I,
Yeah.
I just couldn't be happier because as Marshall likes to throw strays at the Cowboys, I love throwing strays at the Mets.
That's right.
I love it. They're just a silly little organization, and they are, I just, in my opinion, are making all the wrong moves, and it couldn't make me happier. I'm so thrilled. Go ahead, let Edwin Diaz walk, and you signed Devin Williams, who had a very average year with the Yankees. You have him.
Taken.
Yeah. Take Marcus. You want Marcus Simeon, an aging second baseman? Yeah, you get him and let Brandon Nimmo go. You don't need him. Pete Alonso, yeah, he can go to Baltimore. You don't need him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just so happy we're not going to be facing him a million times a year anymore, because he is just one of the scariest pure hitters in the league. And I don't know who they're going to get to replace him, but I just have this funny feeling that it's not going to be anywhere near to Pete Alonso's level, and it's a 5-year deal.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if all goes to plan down in Baltimore, we won't see him for a very, very long time.
Right.
Uh,
Hey,
one
go ahead.
I got one other thing to note here. The Phillies have officially acquired, as of yesterday, Yaniel Cure, who's this right-hander from the Rays. I don't know much about him. I'm going to be honest, ladies and gentlemen. What I have discovered is that he throws 98 miles an hour.
Okay.
Welcome to
Like that.
Philadelphia.
Like
Welcome to
that.
Philadelphia.
Bring
Yeah,
in the heat. Hey,
yeah.
if there's a reason to sleep easy this week in Philadelphia, it's that Kyle Schwarber will be quite near to you for quite a
Yeah.
long time. So
5 years, baby.
we understand the pain is real when it comes to the Eagles, but there's always hope on the horizon. Hopes that will be dashed at some point, we realize. But at least for
Just
right
almost
now,
certainly.
yeah, almost certainly the hope continues. It is still alive. We're going to suffer through the rest of the season or celebrate through the rest
Celebrate?
of the season.
Maybe?
Maybe we'll see
Maybe?
on each week on For the Love of Broad Street. But until next week, with hopefully a Raiders defeat
Smashing.
at the hands of the
We'll
Eagles,
crush them.
we will talk to you then. Jake, take it away.
We'll see you next week. For the love of Broad Street.